recorded vote, and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the New Kent County School Board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore, be it resolved that the New Kent County School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirement by Virginia law were discussed in closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the New Kent County School Board.
Thank you very much. Do I hear a motion to approve the certification statement?
I move we approve the certification statement.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you very much. The first item is the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone can stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We are now on board members' comments. Start down there at the end of the table.
Oh, I'm good.
You're good.
I'm good. I'm nothing.
Sarah?
COVID-19 has definitely changed things immensely, and it puts a question mark with everything. But I'm glad we're continuing to move forward.
Andrea, you are joining us electronically. Are there any comments that you would like to make? Is she joining us? Oh,
No.
She's not on there.
okay. All right. Somebody might want to text her and see if she's having a connection problem. Thank you very much. Mr. Nichols.
I just want to thank the community, thank the school team. We continue to create the future and invent every day. As rules, procedures, policies change, the team is really rallied and done a tremendous job. Just really thank, from learning packets to feeding students and families, we just continue to fill gaps and make things happen.
Very similar to when we had the work session on behalf of the board. I think we all agree that central office, teachers, parents, community support, superintendent, you guys have done an incredible job, and New Kent seems to have been ahead of the curve when it comes to being prepared and being able to move forward. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We're going to move into presentations and recognitions. The first item on the agenda is April is the month of the military child. Dr. Pollard, do you want to just could you come and like maybe stand behind him? I know that's goofy, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean we want to see you. Bring you up here.
There we are on camera.
Yeah, so if you could just
Move up here.
yeah, and, like see that chair right there, and you
Yes.
slide that, and that way we can see.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your flexibility. I just want to see you.
Yes. So thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Mr. Nichols. April is her Block for Military Kids Month. I wanted to sort of recognize New Kent Elementary School because they really have gone above and beyond. In April, I believe, of 2019, I thought we submitted an application to the State Department to be recognized as a Purple Star school. But I'm not sure what happened in that process. So Pam Brooks in my office is the central office contact person, so she got with New Kent Elementary, and like they do everything else, they got right on it and did a lot of fun things. So on behalf of Mr. Moncrief and his staff and Ms. Greer, who is the chairperson of the committee, I just wanted to highlight some things that they were doing. Of course, the applications for 2021 were supposed to come out in April of like a few weeks. So if the applications come out, I think we should go ahead and try to submit for the things we have on.
Absolutely.
So,
Thank you so much. You can stay right there because you're gonna talk to us because April is also Autism Awareness Month.
Yes, again, there were some, parents at New Kent Elementary that I had the pleasure of working with, one of whom is the chairperson of our SEAC. And a few years ago, they got with one of the teachers, Melissa George, who has started the autism program at the school and started doing all of these activities for Autism Awareness Month. They were just getting going, and they did manage to have a t-shirt design contest, and they did pick a design, so they're gonna use that next year when they get ready to sell their t-shirts. One year they raised $13,000. And the two parents, Shannon Rudd and Jenny Harding, whose child is no longer at the elementary school, just went out and partnered with businesses and things to help the children. And they not only helped the kids at New Kent Elementary, they also shared those funds with the other 3 schools. So I thought that was really nice. Just wanted to share that.
Thank you so much, we appreciate that. Consent agenda, because it's not under action items.
Yeah, school, C, school librarians.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, you're absolutely right. So the next item is the school library, and
Jody,
is Jody gonna join us?
Jody Bailey is joining us via Zoom.
Thank you, Jody.
You're welcome. Oh, let me unmute myself. I can start my video.
You're good.
No, we can hear you, thank you.
Okay, good. I just first wanted to thank everybody for giving me this opportunity to share this with everything. Let's see, my full screen, let me make it smaller. There we go. So originating in 1985, School Library Month was developed as a way to honor school librarians for their dedication and hard work that they do each day to touch the lives of children. Specifically in New Kent County, we have 4 librarians I want to recognize and thank. First, we have Kim Holloway at New Kent Elementary School, Peg Noctor at George Watkins Elementary School, Mary Mordecai at the New Kent Middle School, and Tracy McKinney at New Kent High School. In addition to getting thousands of books into the hands of students each year, these librarians encourage literacy in other ways as well. Starting with New Kent Elementary and George Watkins, they had an author visit from Australia. The author was Kate Appel, and she's the author of the book called Bully on the Bus. New Kent Elementary and George Watkins also had a reading fair where students read books and created a project as either an individual or as a family based on the comprehension of the book. George Watkins also had an author visit from Richmond, Virginia, Stephen K. Smith, and he is the author of the Virginia Mysteries series. And so they were really excited to have him visit. New Kent Middle School also launched a brand new project this year called Lift Every Voice, and to honor Black History Month in the month of February. At the end of the month, Miss Mordecai as well as Miss Hathaway had a Soul Cinema Day to celebrate the students who participated. Moving on to One Division I book. This is a big expansion this year, so to also support getting books into the hands of students, both elementary schools celebrated March as Reading Month with One Division I book. This was the first time that this was a collaboration between George Watkins Elementary and New Kent Elementary School. And all students in those 2 schools, in both elementary schools, read the book Stuart Little. This was Title I funded and supported by our reading specialists. And this actually continued despite the shutdown, with many families continuing to read at home, as well as our reading specialists posting the information and daily questions each day. To piggyback off of our One Division I book in March, we're going to attempt to continue this in the month of May. And we're going to call it Part 2, and this will be included with the distance learning plans in K through 5. K through 2 will be reading Flat Stanley, Flat Again. 3 through 5 will be reading the book Wish. And And then the distribution plans are still being developed. All books have actually already been delivered and they're in my garage. So my husband's asking where all the boxes are going to go. So I want to take this opportunity to thank the New Kent County Public Schools School Board, the district administration, the school administrators, the school librarians, as well as all of the teachers for their support in developing lifelong literacy habits with all of our students. Oh, and that's it.
Okay, thank you so much. When your PowerPoint came off, we saw that Andrea joined us, so there was this moment there. So it is one of the odd things about this virtual connection is sometimes it's a little wonky for us.
Yes, wonky is the key word. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. That was really great.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you.
My view was great too. Thank you.
Okay. So do we want to go ahead and approve the consent agenda? Okay, so board members, you have the opportunity to see the minutes, bills, payroll, monthly financials, and the superintendent's recommendations regarding personnel matters. Are there any questions? If there are no questions, do I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I move we approve these consent agenda items.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much. Is it working?
I said aye.
Oh, no, okay. And so the next item is citizen comment period.
So we did put out a call for emails until 5 o'clock with citizen comments.
Okay.
So far.
No,
we have not
okay,
received
okay, so there have been no citizen comments for this evening. Good? Okay. We're gonna move into new business, and this is a first reading for the annual special ed plan, the grant application. Dr. Pollard, you are back. Come back. Come on up.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
So what I have done, which I've typically done the last few years, is giving you an overview of the plan because there are lots of components to it. So I tried to explain in the overview what's in the plan that we're going to send to the State Department. If you look down towards the middle of the page, you'll see where the plan is based on level funding in terms of the budget. That's because we don't get final allocations for federal funds until October. So our guidance has always been to write out plans for level funding and then to amend those later. In the last few years, we've gotten a little bit more money when we had to amend in the fall, so that's a good thing. One new thing in the plan, we do have to set aside money now because we do have one private school in the county. And the formula for that will come out in April, and it's based on our December 1st count. And so we have to set it aside, but I don't know how much that's going to be because it's based on the formula from the state. The other thing I want to mention is we have worked hard on a couple of things this year that I kind of want to mention. One is trying to make sure that more of our students with disabilities are educated in the general curriculum classrooms, and I'll have to really pat the middle school on the back because they made tremendous strides in that this year, and Watkins made tremendous strides last school year with that. The other thing that we have done is we have a committee that has been working with the State Department looking at eligibility thresholds because it is often very difficult to determine if a child has a disability and then under what category. So we don't want to get into the position where we're over-identifying. Let's say we're identifying too many kids in one of those disability categories. So we have a team of folks from our office and some building level folks who have been going to trainings with the state, looking at how we can better define how we identify children. So it's kind of a preventive thing, and it's also given us some updated training as well. So if you have any questions about the plan, it typically is the same. We provide money for staffing. Every once in a while we have enough left over for materials, but primarily the professional development and materials and things come from our local budgets.
This will come back to you in, at the next meeting. So
Second.
the time that we put-
So if we have questions in between now and then, do you just want us to email you?
Sure,
Is that the best way,
Yep.
the best way to do it?
email,
Okay.
yep, I'll get it. Answer
That
your
would be
questions. Okay,
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate that.
thank you.
The next item is, the CTE plan. This is also a first reading, and it's Dr. Bishop. Welcome, sir.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Nichols, this is also based on level funding from 2019 to 2020, so the same allocation, which is around $33,000. My budget, the CTE, current technical education budget, is mostly for equipment and testing and some other professional-based professional learning. Within the CTE plan, we are required to request another course to be added to our complement of CTE courses. With the talking with the CTE team and Mr. Valdry, leadership development was chosen as one of the courses that could easily align with landscape, it could align with business management. It is a very general course, but it has a lot of ways to, for students to look at management, industry, leadership skills, work-based learning, communication, how to run a meeting, all those resources, et cetera. So that's something that we're going to have come through this plan. And also the funds targeted for this plan as well as for last year is for the middle school computer lab. A lot of that is going to that for next year and some from this current plan. And of course, with our new technology teacher at the high school, we have wood planing. That is really going very well. One thing that our CT team is very proud of is our CT advisory meeting, which we should have had one now in May. But we are really working on building more businesses into that CT advisory realm to help us learn more about what it takes outside of beyond high school. So that is our CT plan. So if you have any questions, I'm available. This is the first reading. And then just with Dr. Fowler, please.
One thought, and I mean, obviously, board members, if you've got questions, please, you want us to send them directly to you?
That's great.
Okay, so, I mean, as everybody knows, we get a first reading and the second reading, the expectation is that we're going to vote. So one question which might help us in the next meeting, I don't expect you to answer it now if you want to, but that is help the board understand how the following interfaces, like how does CTE interface with our college and career ready orientation and with bridging communities. So a lot of times we hear CTE and then we hear, yes, the state talks about college and career ready, and then we have bridging communities, which is an alternative program. How does that all interface? How does it's not a duplicate. So what, how does that interface? That's just something to think about.
Right. Our academic and career plan is built in within CT plan, which we use Zillow or career cruising. So that's a K-12 program that we're using. So that's just one thing that I can speak towards. And then, of course, with bridging communities, we have culinary, but they have also culinary. So we're complementary to them, so that we are kind of building a program side by side with bridging communities. So I think it's really important to do that.
We can provide a visual of that second reading of
Okay.
courses and certifications and how.
like a visual.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Those
what's going on
competencies
with
and
us.
things like that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, the state forms are always
Oh my gosh.
I didn't create this.
Indeed.
I know. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much. We have one item that's old business, healthcare update. Is Ms. Pitts joining us?
She is. We're going to promote her to a panelist. She should be joining the screen.
Okay.
And Amy's. Oh, there she is.
Oh,
So while we're promoting Cynthia to panelists, this is a time of innovation and creativity. So I have my parent advisory meeting is scheduled for the year. We have one on Wednesday. We're going Zoom. We're going to keep it rolling, and I've gotten a lot of replies. And, so not letting that get in our way. We'll keep that momentum. So while we're waiting on Cynthia to come back, so the purpose of this is to really just give you a general overview of a healthcare update with an eye on doing a more intensive work session on the 27th. So we wanted to give you a preview and have you think about the questions you may have around all of the different facets of healthcare, wellness, so forth, so that when we come back on April 27th, you'll have information ahead of time where we kind of work through some decisions we need to make as a governing body. Yes.
Okay. While we're waiting for her to join us, right? Yeah, okay. Can I just say that with the video, it makes you much more cognizant of the fact that you don't want to touch your face? Can I just have that little humor? Because I am very conscious of the fact that I want to touch my face. Sorry.
I've been under the table like this.
Okay.
All about strategies.
Okay. Are you with us, Cynthia?
I am. Sorry, as soon as I spoke, it dropped me.
See? That's okay. I was trying to offer some comic relief in the meantime, so.
So Cynthia, I gave a quick update and just said that we're really going to come back at the work session on the 27th to dive into healthcare more, but you wanted to give them a few things to think about in between now and the 27th. So that is your intro, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Just a brief, quick update, little tidbit about how we're performing right now with our medical. If you were to look at us from plan year from 1920, where we are now, just through February compared to last year, our medical claims are actually running about 14.5% down. So a downward trend. If you look at us, just looking at us year to year, just over a 12-month period, we're down 11.79. So that's good. But our pharmacy claims are up right now. And so just, and quite a bit compared to where they have been in the past, but I'm just going to just kind of think that maybe they will even out. Right now we are looking at a reserve in our plan of $84,686 for this plan year. So I'm hopeful that that will continue on this positive path. We have, as of about a week and a half ago, elected to cover the co-pays and the COVID tests for our employees. And then by the end of the week, they'd like us to consider all treatments. So Brian and I are looking at some information regarding what that looks like and how that would impact our plan from a minimal impact to a severe impact. With some of the numbers and the projections that they were running, they were saying anywhere from 50,000 to 592,000. So that's a big decision. Looking at that, Matt's working on a presentation. The renewal meeting is set right now for Monday the 20th, unless we need to push it back a little bit. I don't know, Brian, if the 20th will still work for you. However, the presentation, he'll be ready to give like all the ins and outs of what we look like at the work session on the 24th. The bids are due this Friday. Just kind of FYI, so you would know that. They were coming in Friday, and trying to see what else. Our employee participation rate is up a little over 3% as well.
And that participation rate of 3%, that's since when? What's it being compared to?
They're just looking at year to date, current year to date. Looking at us a year ago, we're up a little there. So just kind of, it's just a report that they give us, Dr. Harding, that kind of shows us where we were last year, where we are this year, and how we're running.
Okay.
And, you know, of course, with COVID, we get a little antsy with that as well. bless you. And being self-funded always adds its own challenges too, so just looking at where we were last year and then some things that, we couldn't account for happening this year, and how will that impact our plan and our premiums.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll continue to run, and keeping in mind, this is only October through February with these numbers showing the reduction in our claims. So it could change, especially with all that we're facing right now.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for this report, and we look forward to the next update. Board members, are there any questions?
And if you have healthcare questions in between now and the work session, if you send them to us, just similar to the other two reports, we can make sure we have those answers and we craft the work session to that component.
And I'd also like to comment on, I think that this graphic presentation helps a lot too. The snapshot is a lot better than the internet.
Good.
We like that. Thank you so much.
Good. Well, I'll have even more for you for the next time in advance so you can see it. But if you have any questions, please let me know, and if I don't know the answer, I will find it.
Okay, great. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Cynthia.
Yeah.
Thank you. Stay well.
Yes.
Thank you. There are no additional action items other than the one we had. There are no informational items other than upcoming meetings.
April 27th at 5:30. I'll verify that time and make sure.
Thank you. All right. If there are no other comments, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Across the street.